Hello, everyone. Happy Halloween. Spooky. I am not in costume. Maybe I am in costume, and someone is here that's not me that's dressed as Jed. You never know. Tyler's also not in costume. We're very festive on the Jed and Dive Show. Are you in costume right now?
I forgot my guitar, but I'm a youth pastor.
Oh, there you go. I don't know.
People were walking by. They would go, "What'd you do? Dress up as a pedophile?" I was like, "Well, that's uncalled for." Okay,
that's unnecessary. People getting too feisty out there. Well, happy Halloween to all of you. If you're watching this and you're in costume, that's exciting. Who knows? Somebody could out there dressed as me, dressed as Tyler, dressed as Top G over here. We got a big show today. I Don't Need a Man is Feminist Propaganda. That is the title of the show. That is where we are headed. What am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about the sexism label. Do you notice that label is thrown around all the time now? You say something, criticize women, sexist. We're going to talk about why and give some great examples. Wait till you see this video that's coming your way. Then I discovered Drew Afualo. Do you know her? She's a modern feminist. She does a lot of content. She's been embraced by Hollywood, by big media. I checked out some of the content. It was interesting, entertaining, no disrespect, but we disagree on a bunch of things. So I thought, what a great opportunity to highlight some of Drew's critique of Fresh and Fit. What is she saying about Fresh and Fit? We'll talk about it. She talks about whether women seek validation from men. Is that true? Is it not? Sex toys come up. Vibrators. You know the vibrator culture. I got to comment on that. This whole I don't need a man feminist mantra is discussed, so we're going to dig into that. Women treating themselves like sex objects. Why? Ladies, why are you doing that to yourselves? You say it's the guys. You do it to yourselves a lot. Men as protectors. She and another host, influencer, talk about how that's a big joke. Apparently that's funny to them. Not so funny to me. The male versus female double standard on a whole host of issues we're going to get into. Women critiquing other women. I've told you this before. Women are the toughest on other women, but Drew seems to think that's, well, I don't know if she thinks that's not the case, but she has a bit of a different opinion than I do on that. And she also thinks that listening to Joe Rogan is a red flag. So remember the other day we talked about how we showed those clips of if your guy's listening to Fresh and Fit, oh no, bad, 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 can't have that. Apparently Joe Rogan is on that list too, which is hilarious to me. We're going to dig into all of that and much, much more. But before we get into that today, I want to tell you about something. This show today is brought to you by an amazing company called Aura that I have just started partnering with. Now, I told you guys that I was not going to promote or partner with anyone that I didn't believe in, and I have kept that promise to you. You know that a big priority for me is to help all of you at home protect yourselves. Freedom, personal responsibility, and security is key to that. Now, if you have ever had your credit card stolen, been the victim of credit card fraud, had your identity stolen, heaven forbid, you know that wreaks havoc on your life. I had a friend who was a victim of identity theft. It took her years, you heard that right, years to get her life back on track. I have been a victim of credit card fraud, and it's a headache. And also when something like that happens, you're always waiting for the next shoe to drop. You know, you're like, oh, what's happening next? Is someone going to be buying this? Do I need to worry about my other credit cards? It can be very, very stressful. So let me tell you about Aura and why I am now partnered with them to help protect me and my family. I use this service and I'm very excited about it. It's a super cool company. They are theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management, and antivirus software all in one app. You just need one app, you get all that stuff. And by the way, I'm not tech savvy, as you all know, not terribly good at it, but I was easily able to navigate this. This app is super duper user friendly, so you don't have to worry. Mom, dad, I know you can work it too. Now, this is a stat that shocked me. The identity theft stuff is happening every 14 seconds in America. And I always say, don't get scared, get empowered. Don't get scared, embrace solutions. Aura is the solution. It monitors the dark web for your emails, your passwords, your social security numbers, and it sends those alerts right to your phone or your email if something's going on that's shady. So if somebody goes out and decides to open a credit card in your name and you're like, that's not me, you have an alert, you have a warning, you are empowered to do something about it before it gets away from you. Also, super cool, by the way. The VPN lets you stay anonymous online by keeping your browsing history and personal info safe and encrypted. So we all talk about on this show the death of privacy. Here is a company that's trying to protect that privacy for you every day. I looked on the dark web And I tried to find my passwords. I used the Aura app. I went and I tried to see. They found my passwords over 40 times on the dark web. Very spooky. Very glad I now have this company as a partner to help me figure out if I have a password out there that the dark web has. I don't want to have that password. Neither do you. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to protect your privacy. You're going to protect your security and that of your family. You're going to go to aura.com/Jedediah. It's also going to be linked below in the description for the show. And if you sign up right now at my link, right now, Aura is going to give you a 2-week free trial where you're going to be able to go on the app and you're going to be able to see if your passwords that you're using, and you know we repeat them, right? Are those passwords on the dark web? Are those passwords safe and secure? You're going to be able to go on for 2 weeks using that code. Look in the description again if you forgot it already. You're going to be able to do that, aura.com/Jedediah, and figure out what's safe and what's not. And I want you to go in the comments, by the way. And when you do this, go in the comments, and I want you to tell me how many times your password was found, because I thought this was incredibly spooky. I thought I was savvy with my passwords, Tyler. Turns out not so savvy. So you can never be too safe, people. This is the age where privacy is dying. Let's protect that privacy. Let's protect that security. Let's do it together with Aura. I'm super excited. I had a field day, and I'm not even a tech girl. Had a field day with Aura last night, just saying. We partied together. All right. So now we're going to get back to sexism. Sexism! You can't criticize women. Sexist. You know they vomit the words out. Sexist, racist, misogynist. All right. Let's look at an interview. This is a perfect example of the label being vomited out. This is an interesting interview that I saw. And check out the girl's responses to some very fair questions from a guy. Tyler.
No jumper.
No, the first one. You have the first one?
Yeah. The short?
Yeah, I want. Oh, yeah, that's what I want. I want the
If
short.
there was one thing that you wish men understood better about women, what would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Pick your damn clothes up off the floor.
What was that again? I couldn't hear.
Pick your damn clothes up off the floor.
Okay. Why can't women just remember to leave the damn toilet seat up?
You know, that's a great question. Goes both ways.
Okay. Okay. Women often talk about hormones influencing their emotions and behavior. Why are there some women who shame men for being horny when testosterone is a male hormone?
These interview questions seem super sexist, and I'm not going to continue this. Thanks so much, though.
Doesn't it go both ways, though?
They seem all pretty sexist. That's okay, though. Thank you so much.
Why?
If there was one thing that you...
Why is it? Okay, so why are the questions sexist? Why? Perfectly reasonable questions, I thought. First of all, he makes it... You know, we see what he's doing. He's flipping the playbook, right? Because you always say, guys, you know, you got to put the toilet seat down. So he flips it. And he's like, well, why can't women leave the toilet seat up? It would be more convenient, right, guys? I mean, it's funny. It's funny. She kind of missed that one a little bit, or she was like, wait a minute. He's trying to catch me. I love that the first question he asked, she immediately just barks out an order. Pick your damn clothes up off the floor. That wasn't the question, honey. He was asking you a different question. But this is important because why can't you have a conversation about hormones, right? Why? Why can't we acknowledge that guys are horny more often because of their testosterone levels? That's a reasonable question, right? Women are entitled to say that we have a lot more ups and downs, and we do, because throughout the cycle, our hormones are all over the place. We get more tired sometimes. We get the cramps. You know, we're allowed to voice that. Why can't we? That's a great thing that that guy brought up. Well, what about the testosterone? Maybe that's why guys always want to have sex 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and women aren't always in that space. What I find really interesting, though, is her reflex reaction. Why not just, that would have been a great opportunity to have a conversation. Be like, oh, I never thought about it like that. That's true. I guess we all have hormones. I guess they're all involved in different ways. No. How dare you ask? How dare you ask? And I know it's just a short. And I know you could say, oh, Jed, this happens all the time. The sexist playbook is thrown out all the time. It's like, I don't like what you're saying. You're making me uncomfortable. I can't engage. She didn't have an answer. So it was like, oh, sexism. I can't. All right, let's get to No Jumper. This is interesting. This was actually an interview with, I believe it was Destiny, who's actually on this show. We're not going to feature the Destiny section, though. By the way, the Destiny interview that we did is blowing up. I think it's over 100K. So if you missed that debate, go watch it. It was good. And kudos to him for coming on, because a lot of liberals, spineless. They won't come on. They're too nervous. He wasn't. He's a smart guy, stood up for himself. I respect that. All right, let's look at the No Jumper clip. This is about a guy. This is an interesting question. Talking about if you're a guy out there, and let's say you're 25, 26 years old, and you're dating a younger girl. She's 19 years old, let's say. And she's amazing. She's perfect. The question is she ready to get married? Good question. Bad answer. Let's listen.
You're a dude. Even if you're 25 and you find a girl who's 19 and she's beautiful and she's unbesmirched, she's a virgin, she seems amazing to you, and you think this is the perfect girl to wife up, it might seem like that. I don't think it's a good idea because she hasn't lived yet. She hasn't fucking done anything. She's got plenty of wild oats to sow, you know? Like, she's gonna want to live and to have experiences, and she's not like, whereas with my girl, it's like, you know, she sees her friends like going on.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So I would argue in today's time, if you are a female and you made it to 19 as virgin, you got all the way through middle school. Hate to say it, they're having sex in middle school now. Disgusting, but it's happening. You got all the way through high school and you didn't get slutty. You didn't go that route. It wasn't for you. You made it to 19 making those decisions. There's a good chance that you're just not that kind of girl. That you're not a sow your oats kind of girl. You went through summer college and you're not sowing your oats. There's a good chance that you found one of the good ones. And you found somebody who has that self-respect, who has that old school mentality, who maybe was raised right, dare I say, and isn't going to sow their oats. So you don't want to just toss that. You don't want to say, oh no, she's not ready to get married. You want to figure it out. Now, how do you do that? This is easy, guys. Take her out. Take her out. Spend some time around her. How does she behave around you? Take her to the club. How does she behave? How does she dress? How does she behave when she's there? Is she always looking over the shoulder? Is she looking past you? Is she a little too tantalized by the scene? Is she attention seeking in the scene to a point where it's like, what's going on? Does she drink a lot? How does she behave with her friends? Does she have the bad influence friends, or does she have decent friends that you're like, oh yeah, if they went out for a girls' night, I wouldn't be thinking about that at all? Is the nightlife scene very inviting? You could see she's just waiting to get involved. Look at her Instagram. What does it look like? Is it half naked all over the place? Look at how she responds to male attention. Is there a game being played? Is she jealous? There's so many things that you can discern. Have a conversation with her and talk about what she wants her life to look like. What does she say? What is her vision for the next 5 years? What does she do for a living? What does she want to do for a living? Does she want to be a mom? There's so many ways to discern where that young girl's head is at, because I know the instinct in today's age is to just believe that all women are following this path of what I always refer to as badly behaved men. But, you know, it's just typical male behavior, let's say, right? The hookup culture, all that. But you may have a gem. And if you get a gem, honey, you don't want to lose that gem, because they still exist. They're few and far between, and you definitely want to feel your way around. Get comfortable being the kind of guy that investigates a situation. You know, that's what I say to the guys. Ask the questions, spend the time, figure it out. Because I happen to think that if you've gone that far, I was 19. I had been with one person. I was had been crazy in love with that person at the time, although, you know, later years you look back, you're like, was I really in love? Not quite, but I thought so at 19, but I took it seriously. These people do exist. So I would hate for somebody out there to say, oh, let me let this one go, even though she's saying she wants to settle down, she's not ready. And then you wind up in a pot that's not so great. The dating pot sucks in 2022. It sucks. So always feel that around and, you know, say, maybe you got a good one, maybe you got a gem. All right, I discovered Drew Afualo. Y'all know who she is. I discovered her content. I had come across a short of her going after Myron. Don't forget to, by the way, did you hit that subscribe button? Did you hit that like button? Tyler put it up there on the screen. It's so cute. It's lovely. You can't resist. It's like you just gotta go do it. Go show some love if you haven't done it already. She's a TikToker, Drew Afualo. She has like a zillion followers on TikTok. She's young. She's been embraced heavily. Look at that. 7.6 million followers. She's been embraced by celebrity culture, red carpets, all of that stuff. And there was an article in the Huffington Post on her, and it says, TikToker Drew Afualo knows exactly how to silence misogynistic bullies. So here, the code word was in there, misogynist. I said, oh, we got a live one. Let me see what this is all about. So I look, and some of the quotes from Drew, this is her. I just make fun of terrible dudes on the internet, which is a real short synopsis of it. Interesting. Making fun of terrible dude. What defines a terrible dude, you ask? We're going to see. You're going to see. Myron, according to her, is a terrible dude, by the way. She is dubbed the defender of women by her fans. She has 7.7 million followers, as we said. There's a couple of little quotes in here. She says, racism plays a huge role in the criticism of my content and the people who don't like how I do things. What I look like plays a huge role. Racism is embedded in every system in this country. I was so upset, but at the same time, I felt better because I was right. So let me just come out of the gate right now. I love vomiting out the word misogynist, racist, rawr, here we go, rawr. I don't care about people's race. My criticism of Drew has nothing to do with anything related to her skin tone, her color, I don't care. Let's just get that off the table right now. Don't care, not a factor, whatever. She also says, by the way, because you're going to need this context, she would love to do a talk show. Getting to do more legitimate forms of media on TV or even going into stuff like movies. That's what she's gunning for. So this is someone that has been heavily, heavily embraced by Hollywood culture. It would not surprise me whatsoever if she got some type of deal out of this. If we saw her on more red carpets, if she suddenly was in, films, TV show, would not surprise me at all, particularly because of the type of content she's putting out there. So let's go to the first one. I first went to some samples of her content from her page because I want to know this person who's a defender of women, right? What is she saying? Let's look. The first one is her going after Myron on Fresh and Fit, and I'm going to let this play out. Let's take a listen.
Say something here controversial, but I'm just going to say it anyway. If a woman does not give you the bedroom fun, she's useless to you.
Dude, oh my God. Hold on. Let me collect myself. Okay, first of all, I've seen this dude before. This fucking dingbat. I've seen him many times. I've heard of this podcast. Fucking garbage, obviously. I am a little curious. Are those women being held hostage?
Okay, can we pause that for a second, Tyler? I'm going to pause throughout this and go back and be annoying. I apologize, Tyler. So here's the thing, right off the bat. I don't care that she doesn't like what Myron said. I actually don't agree necessarily with what he said. I tried to find what he said before and what he said after. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find that episode. I would be curious. I don't agree with Myron on everything. That particular tidbit, I would have said, I would have asked a couple of questions about. I didn't particularly agree with. But here's what's interesting about it. How she responds to it. Immediately, it's insults, right? Garbage, the podcast. Wait, and the insults get richer and richer. And then there is the assumption, of course, that the girls in the room on his show, as you know, Fresh and Fit, the signature look of the show, it's not every show, but is the girls. And then sometimes there's a guy like Sneeko, whoever in the middle, or Rolo in the middle. And then there's Myron and Fresh. The assumption is that those girls are being held hostage. So utterly ridiculous. Do you know how many girls die to be on that show? They can't, they don't know what to do to get on that show because, first of all, it's a high profile spot. And secondly, they're there, they want to have the conversation. They want to be included in what is usually a pretty cool conversation. So this idea that these women are hostages, that they're victims in some way, nauseating. They get dressed up, they want to be on the show, they go on the show, they say their piece. Adults. This is what we call adulthood. Okay, let's continue now. Now the insults get rich, so pay attention.
But that's besides the point. Everything he's saying, that's all I fucking hear when they talk. You know Charlie Brown's teacher? That's what I fucking hear when these dudes open their big fat gobs, you know? When I watched this clip, I was blown away, bitch. Blown away. And not for the reasons that you think. Obviously, the content itself makes me want to gouge my eyes out with my acrylic. And this guy's painfully single. Jesus fucking Christ. Aside from those hostages there, he doesn't talk to women that are not his mother or his dentist. But we gotta talk about the hair, dude. We have to. We have to talk about it. We have to. On God, bro. Bro, there's no fucking fucking way, dog. There's no way. You have crop circles on your head. Like, actually. The fucking Fifth Element over here, bitch. The movie Signs, they filmed that on this man's head. That shit, even God himself couldn't fix that hairline. And
Okay.
I know you fucking...
So this goes on and on and on. First of all, she finds herself hilarious, which is bad. Don't laugh at your own jokes like that. It's always bad. I've said it about Seinfeld. I've said it about her. Now I will say it about others. Don't laugh at your own jokes. It ruins the joke. She's not really telling a joke, though. She's just taking personal digs and personal attacks against him. His hair, the hostages, goes on and on and on. And this is supposedly the feminist hero. So I ask, where is the actual reply to the commentary? You disagree with what he said. Where's that? Where's the meat? Why do you disagree? You can disagree. That's cool. Where is it? Well, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. She doesn't have anything remotely reasonable or decent to say. This is an adult Mean Girl. When I talk about Mean Girls, and I say this all the time, you've seen the movie Mean Girls, right? They're in high school. They're mean. Girls can be nasty at certain ages of life. And this is an adult version of that, because adult Mean Girls, what they do is they don't engage with you on the merit of the discussion. They don't engage with you on policy. They go for a personal attack. You're ugly. You're dressed weird. You can't get a girl. You've never seen a girl. You're painfully single. How do you know, honey, that Myron is painfully single? How do you know anything about him? How do you know how many women he talks to in a day? You don't know any of that. You just don't have anything better to say about his commentary. Debate him on the merit of the content. There's plenty that could have been said in reaction to Myron's clip. There's plenty you could have said, well, women are, worth a lot more than that. You could have had that whole discussion. No, why do that? Why do that when I can act like an adult baby, an adult mean girl, and I will have a whole bunch of feminists applaud me? Yay, it's funny. And I ask you, when you watch this clip, would this be funny if you flipped it around? Would this be funny? Let's flip it. Let's pretend that she said something on her show and Myron didn't like it, and Myron made a clip like this, talking about her appearance and, she's never been with she could never get a date. She's never, it would be taken down. It would be labeled misogynist. It would be, forget it. It would be the end of the world. And you know it. And I'm not saying it would be becoming, because it would be bad character on his part. He doesn't do stuff like that as far as I can see. I haven't seen him do videos of that sort. Maybe I'm missing one. But this is a bad look. This is a bad look for a feminist. This is a bad look for an adult female. And this is a perfect example of, you don't need to be anti-guy to be pro-woman. If you as a female have to tear men down to be pro-woman, honey, you're doing it wrong. You're doing something wrong. You should not need to do that. You should not want to do that. That's not what feminism was about. Feminism was not about tearing men down. It was about lifting women up who did not have the same opportunities as men, societally, educationally, and whatnot. Now it's just what? Man-hating? Count me out. Not interested. So then I watched more. And this is from the comments section. She's got a podcast. And it's a conversation about freeing herself from the validation of men. Let's take a listen. That's the second one, Tyler.
Pick me at one point or another, but freeing myself from the validation of men really let me love myself and become myself, really, because patriarchy and misogyny is so much stronger and so much more rampant than you think.
Yes.
And then when you unlearn a bunch of shit beauty standards is one of them. And that's another reason why you lack self-confidence in the first place, is because you're trying to adhere to a Eurocentric beauty standard.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, oh man, that freed me. We've all been a pick
Do you know who that is, Tom? I don't know who that is on the other side, that woman on the other side.
No, but she sounds intelligent.
She's like, yeah.
Glad
That's
I just got told that we all live by a Eurocentric standard by the girl with giant acrylics and a fucking minion costume.
Top G over here weighing in. Seriously. So this is interesting to me. Freeing herself from the validation of men. And I love that when the feminists do this, right? Blame the guys. That's the easy way out. Blame the guys for everything. It's misogyny. It's, the Eurocentric beauty structure. The next line in that, by the way, is that men created. It's men running these magazines. It's men putting certain types of women in these movies. It's all men. It's all bad. It's all men. Okay. So anyone who's been alive as a female knows that that's not true, if you're being honest with yourself, because you know that women are brutal when it comes to other women. Working in the television industry, all of my female bosses were a nightmare. They were cruel when it came to physical appearance. They were extremely harsh. They would say things about my hair or my body or my makeup that day that you would never hear a man utter. Men would never. They would live in fear to utter those things that women would just say with ease. Horrible things. Insulting, degrading, fix that. Trust me. So let's say you don't work in television, you also don't live in a bubble. You ever been inside, had a group of girls growing up? Like I said, the mean girls, cruel, nasty, horrible things. Locker room judgment. Oh, that one over there. Oh, I told you when I started the show, one of the comments I'll never forget, I said to you, if you got like a bobby pin in your hair in the back and it's in wrong, a woman will spot that shit across the room and she'll be like, oh, look at that one. She doesn't care about what she looks like. Terrible. Oh, look at that. You know it. Guys don't even notice 3/4 of that. You want to talk about Botox? You want to talk about fillers? Why do women get that stuff? Don't tell me it's for men. It's not. Oftentimes, you will hear the guys in women's life begging them not to do that stuff. Please, babe, don't do it. It looks weird. Please, I don't need giant fish lips. Please don't do it. I don't want it. Please. Oftentimes, even with breast implants, don't do it. You look great. I don't know. That's weird. It's fake. I'm not. Guys, 99% of the time will be talking women out of those decisions. No, they want it. Why do they want it? Because they want to compete with other women. Because they want other women to look at them and be like, oh, she looks so young. She looks younger than me. And then say to their husband, does she look younger than me? It's a whole thing. It's a whole female cultural thing. It's gag-inducing. Maybe this is why I don't have that many female friends. Can't. My best friend is female, but she's not like that. Bottom line, you can't blame men for this stuff. What you are really seeking is the validation of other women, and that is the problem. Women seek the validation of other women who are very tough on them. That's the issue. Don't blame men for, oh, men have a problem with blah, blah, blah. No. Now, is there a certain beauty standard that I think men generally are hardwired to like? Maybe. But oftentimes that's not the stuff women are doing. Like, men are hardwired to want you to be natural. The more makeup you put on, the more agitated they become, right? They don't need to like roll over in the bed and they got like eyelashes coming off and like it's some type of Halloween costume. No, they want that. The desired woman of all men, I say this with comfort, the less you need to do to look good, the more they're enthralled with you. That's where the girl next door came from. She just jumps out of bed, hair's a little messy, there's not a lot going on. Maybe she's not glamour girl, but she looks really good just naturally. That is what guys crave. Yeah, sure, she can dress up sometimes and maybe it's like, wow, and it's fun every now and then, and maybe that Halloween costume on Halloween, honey, on Halloween is nice. But all that going on, it gets to be too much. Women do that for women. They do it for themselves sometimes, and they do it for other women. They are constantly in this game of competition with other women. So blame women. Blame women. You don't like the beauty standards? Blame women. You don't like blame women. Say women. Or stop giving a shit what other women say about you and just forget it. But don't blame men. This is not on guys. It's just not. Do you agree with me, Tyler? Do you feel like most of this comes from women to women?
Well, I certainly don't think it's guys that are putting Tess Holliday on the cover of Vogue and Lizzo on the cover of everything. And no, I agree 100%. There's a really interesting comment in here that says fake for fetish, natural for wifey. I think that's really accurate.
Yes. And that's true too. There's like a fantasy component when you see like the fake. It's like, the fake eyelashes. And that's like even like that. Maybe some of that comes from guys watching porn for a lot of years too, where everybody's so glamorized. And that's not to say that they don't appreciate you dressing up every now and then, but there's nothing better than like a low maintenance hot wife. That's
100%.
what I feel like.
100%.
And I remember a guy that I was friends with years ago, just friends, truly. He said, I'm dating this girl and she's got to put the eyeliner on to go to Dunkin' Donuts, and I just can't. Like, why? It's us. It's us. So own it, and just stop blaming men for everything. Okay. Let's look at this next one. This is from the comment section. This is her, that's her show's title, the comment section, which I think is a cool title, truly. Let's listen to this one. I don't remember what this short was about. Let's play it because I forgot. I just have my commentary here.
Never speak to me again, and I would feel the exact same way about myself.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, let's try it.
No, for real, man, if you're seeing this, stop talking.
To me especially.
And in general.
In general. Every time they say it, they're like, see, you're trying to silence us.
And it's like, yeah.
Man could never speak.
I mean, it's sad, right? They mean it, though. Guys, they mean it. They're like, again, you're dumb. Oh, just shh. Modern feminism, guys, you listening? Modern feminism is real. This is really what they're doing. Shh to you. Shh, just sit down. Shh, talk lower. Shh, be quiet. Take the blame, by the way. It's all your fault. You're toxic if you're masculine. Just be a little softer. Just shh. It's all that. It's all that. She's telling you straight up, be quiet. She wants you to be quiet. Now, let's talk about this part, which is fascinating. She's trying to say she doesn't care if another guy ever looked at her. The other girl's like, yeah, or talk to me. Bullshit. This is horse shit. This is ridiculous. Ladies, if you okay, and this requires a certain amount of self-awareness and you being honest with yourself. Ladies, if you go to the club with a group of friends, 5 friends, and you're the only one that's not approached by guys, you're going to care. You're going to start looking at what you're wearing. You're going to be like, what's going on here? You want the attention. You want it to, even if you are not going to hook up with any of them. Let's say you're not into hookup culture at all. Let's say you're somebody who doesn't do all that. So you still want to be wanted. It is human nature to want to be wanted and desired. So you're lying if you're saying you don't care. Of course you care. You don't want people to say, you get dressed up, you don't want people to say, oh, you look so nice. No. It doesn't make a difference if somebody says, you look like shit today, or you look great today. Of course it does. We're still human beings at the end of the day. I'm not saying that you don't get dressed and want to look in the mirror and feel confident in yourself and that there's not a component of that you're doing it for yourself. Of course. But of course you want attention. You want to be wanted and desired. No, everybody goes to the club, gets all dressed up as women, and they want the guys to look the other way and ignore them. Come on. Can we just be honest in our commentary? Please. Goes for guys too. Guys, you go to the club, you get all dressed up. Is it your intention that you're going to get dressed, you're going to shave, you're going to go into that club, and every girl you approach is not going to want to talk to you? No. You're hopeful that you're going to, present yourself well and that someone's going to want to hang with you that night. At least, otherwise, what are you doing there? Go to the grocery store instead. You're wasting a whole bunch of time. So this is just dishonest stuff to me. And it bothers me, this whole I don't need male attention. I don't need guys. I don't need a man. It's just a bunch of nonsense. It's nonsense. You want attention. You want to be desired. No matter what you want to do with that in part 2, do you want to have sex with them? Do you want to make out with them? That's separate. But you sure as hell want that guy to want you. So let's be honest about it. Ridiculous. Silly. Okay. Now there's a conversation that happens between Drew and Fanita. 2 influencers. I don't know if you know Fanita. You may recognize her. She's done a bunch of stuff as well. She has a hot TikTok as well. Tons of followers. And they sit, and now this is when it turns into what to me sounds like man-hating. And in the article, it's interesting that I read you earlier. It's like she takes issue with that label. Oh, they'll say I hate men. Well, a lot of the content is very demeaning to men. It just is. Listen to it and you'll make your own judgment. So this part of the conversation is about men thinking they're more important than they actually are. Let's listen to this one.
They're so much more important that they are. Like,
That's what
we
I'm
don't even
saying.
need y'all for a good.
Comcast bit.
Tyler's got the ads today. Top G. Uh-oh. He thought he had him beat, but here we are.
See, they switched my laptop out and they don't tell me till after they do it.
There's a conspiracy. It's a Halloween prank. It's a Halloween prank.
And I need parts I can trust.
He's going to get it in a second. I'll tee it up for you. But essentially they're talking about how men think they're more important than they are, and they get into sex toys. My favorite, the vibrator culture. Let's have it.
Yeah.
Like, what are
Just
like
get that rose that you were advertising.
the
That's a
womanizer?
sex toy.
Hey, this isn't that, but
But hey, if you're in the market,
if you ding ding, I'm telling you. Hey. And what I'm not gonna lie, the rose is like the crack epidemic in the 80s to women. Like,
Okay. So it starts out with women don't need men, and like men think they're more important than they really are, and all of that stuff. And this is the I don't need a man mantra. This is the feminist mantra. And what is the symbol of that is the vibrator. It's like, I'm going to just take my vibrator and I'm going to go to my sperm bank and I don't need a man for anything. Nonsense. First of all, the vibrator culture is being introduced to women, and the vibrator culture is being, put up here by modern feminists because they want women to not need men, right? Remember, the goal is separation. The goal is traumatize, demean men, make them feel small, make them weak, make women feel like they don't need men, put them in this hyper-powered, feminist culture where they're on the path, to be, CEO of the company and all of this. Even if they're unhappy and that's not the choice they wanted, that's the goal. Okay. The problem with the sex toys, by the way, also is that they're deeply ungratifying to women in many respects. So guys, listen. The sex toy is a machine. And the way they're making them today, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if Elon Musk got a hold of this project. It's like next generation sex toy. It's not your grandma's sex toy. Let's just say it like that. This stuff can do things that I've seen them at the store sometimes, and I'm just like, whoa, whoa, does it talk? I mean, it does all but clean the house, is all I'm going to say. And so at some level, guys are going to be like, well, I can't move at the speed of light. It's crazy. They have all different settings and motion. It's insane. So on one level, just from a purely technological perspective, can a real human body compete with that? No. However, here's the catch. Women oftentimes will use those toys and they find themselves repeatedly ungratified. They're not gratified. It's like they keep going back for more. It's not satisfying. Why is that? Well, it's very obvious because women are hardwired for sex, physical sex, the physical components of it, and intimacy, love, emotion, to be combined. And when those two things are combined into one is when we have the most gratifying experience. That's why foreplay plays an important role. That's why having sex with someone you actually care about or love, ideally, really sends that to great heights for women. We are hardwired for sex to mean something. Now, I understand that modern feminist young women have been programmed to believe that they're really enjoying this hookup culture and all that. Why is it that every single one I talk to then is miserable? I ask. Regardless, some, I'm sure there are some out there that are the exception. There's always an exception. But these toys and all this stuff, it's not going to replace a meaningful relationship with a man. It's not. It's not going to replace that intimacy. It's not. It's not going to make that experience amazing for a woman in comparison to what an amazing experience with a man could be. So this whole idea, though, is designed for guys to feel small again. They need you to feel so small, guys, that you feel like, well, I can't compete with a sex toy. I don't want to outshine her by being masculine and strong, and maybe I'm too loud and I need to just sit back. Guys don't even know what to do anymore. They don't even know how to behave anymore. They don't know what's acceptable societally. Sometimes they'll just sit back and say, I'm not getting involved because it's just too complicated. And I think oftentimes guys are afraid to interact in dating culture because they don't even know how to just be them anymore. It's like, am I not supposed to be a guy and yet be appealing to them as a guy? How do you even navigate that craziness? And why are men constantly being told by women, we don't need you, You're not important. You're not that valuable. You can be replaced by a sperm bank or a sex toy. Why do men have to swallow that and not respond? Why? Don't swallow that nonsense. That's deeply, deeply cruel stuff that's being said. It's also untrue. And also, I will remind you that every person who speaks like that, insults, I don't need you, is coming from a place of deep, deep, deep insecurity. Because that's not how you approach an argument if you're confident. You don't. All right. This is really interesting to me, a conversation that arises between Fanita and Drew about a girlfriend of Drew's who went on a booty call. Apparently she went on a booty call and some stuff ensues afterward. Let's take a listen.
With her, I had 2 other friends with me, all of whom were drunk. Everybody was drunk. We were all of age, so chill out. But we were all like 21 and over. And so then one of the dudes that was waiting in the living room with us, one of the scraps, he literally was getting very mad. The longer time went on and nobody was hooking up with him.
Yeah.
Mind you, there was one other dude there and nobody was hooking up with him. So it's like, you guys are going home pussyless together.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Kiss each other.
Yeah. Explore it. Who knows?
You might like it.
But he literally got so angry that like it's like something snapped in him after my friend was like, she got what she needed to get done. She came out and we were like, okay, I think we should head out. All right, time to leave. It's been real, right? And I've done many trips like that, as most women have. And then as we're getting ready to leave, he's like, yeah, all these bitches and whores can leave. All you sluts can leave. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, starts lighting it up, calling us sluts and whores. And like, that's all you're good for. Women like you, this is all you're good for. Oh, my
You're damn
God.
right. I don't cook or clean.
You know what's funny?
I just got that good pum-pum. That's all I'm good
that
for.
gorilla grip.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct about me, sir.
Super Soaker 3000.
Like,
Okay.
that stuff.
So do you see what's being elevated? The modern feminist movement is elevating female talk that sounds like this. You can agree, you can disagree with the content of what she's saying. It's up to you. But you have to sound like how a guy 30 years ago in the locker room who was one of the bad boys at school talked. You got to have a gutter mouth. You got to be nasty talking about sex and your this and your body parts and just like that is now held in high esteem to modern feminists because their goal, remember, is to make men and women equal, and by equal they mean the same. They want them to be the same, even though we are fundamentally different. So they need now all that bad behavior you didn't like from like the jocks back in the day. Oh, they would talk, guy talk and all that. Now you're going to do it. You're going to own it, ladies. You're going to do it and you're going to own it because that shouldn't just be for men. And my response is always, well, I thought that was bad. I thought you didn't like that guys talk like that. Well, we didn't. But our response is that now women can talk like that too. Oh, so you labeled it as bad behavior and now you copied it. So was it bad behavior or were you just jealous that society wasn't smiling upon you when you spoke like that? What's going on here exactly? My first thought is she's talking about the booty call and then she's mad that the guys there who were just using them, you got a whole bunch of people using each other for sex, right? That's what a booty call is. And she says, oh, we did a lot of, you know, trips like that. What she means is there's a lot of trips where a bunch of girls hop in the car. And it's like one girl wants to hook up with a guy. So you go to the house and you sit and you wait while she's in the room having sex with somebody. I never did one trip like this. Let me just say that. Not once. I'm sure it happens. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is the what's cool in 2022, sadly. Disgusting. But she's saying that. And she's saying that, you know, they do the booty call, all that stuff. And then the guys label them as slutty and whore. Well, yeah, because this is just sexual favors going. But nobody cares about anybody in this room. Are you surprised that then they name called you? I'm not. You're not exactly dealing with a high caliber of citizen here, right? You're all just in it for hit and run. Best part about it, though, is that I was expecting them to be like, how dare you call me slutty? Why would you call me that? No, she owned it. Vanita's like, well, yeah, damn straight. And she then goes to completely objectify herself. I don't cook. I don't clean. I just got this. I got the goods. Meaning, you know, down south. And then they say gorilla grip and all this crazy stuff. But notice how like the idea that you would cook and clean and want to take care of your home. I love to clean. Do you know why I love to clean? I love to clean because I take pride in my home. And I like to organize, and I like to clean, and I like when people to come over to look and say, oh, what a beautiful home. There is nothing wrong with, as a female, taking pride in your home. There is nothing wrong with wanting to cook a beautiful, healthy, delicious homemade meal for your family. But she sees that as slavery, right? She even mentions the word, I believe, in there. Somebody says, I don't know if it's in this one, somebody refers to it as being enslaved. Several videos here. But they view it as that, like a form of slavery to cook and clean. Interestingly enough, they have no problem with women being used physically and allowing themselves to be used and using guys and everybody using each other's bodies. But cooking and cleaning, that's enslavement. What planet am I on? So do you see this constant demeaning? Like those are 1950s housewives. They cooked and cleaned. Oh, so 1950s housewives cooked and cleaned for their own family. That's somehow bad. But you just sleeping around, using guys, them using good, that's female empowerment. Do I have that right, modern feminists? Did I get that one right? Okay. Maybe some people need to be talking about some toxic femininity. Should we talk about that? I see toxic masculinity all. Where's the toxic femininity? Maybe we'll do a show on that. Toxic femininity. Y'all signed up for that? Mm-hmm. Tyler's like, I'm writing the title up now. I'm getting it ready for next week. Seriously.
Well, I wonder if she's so anti-man and she doesn't need to dress up and she doesn't believe in the Eurocentric standards of beauty and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why'd she dress up for this one? Why'd she do her hair? Why'd she put the earrings in? Yeah, right. Why'd she get out of the fucking Minion costume? If it's such a Eurocentric standard of beauty, I mean, really, why not just show up in pajama pants and roll out of bed every time?
And she's got a boyfriend, too. I don't know if she had a boyfriend.
Poor bastard.
I don't know what. Well, what?
Her boyfriend. I feel bad for the guy.
Oh.
I was gonna say,
like, what? Did you say poor bastard?
He's a poor bastard.
You sound like my mom there for a minute. I'm like, Solange? My mom's always like, that poor bastard. Italians use that phrase all the time. Tyler, you're hanging around me too much is the bottom line. It's true, though. It's true. She got a boyfriend. I don't know what that situation is, but does he enjoy this content? Does he enjoy listening to this ragging on men? I just don't understand. Like, I am not advocating, by the way, for like ragging on women. You can criticize bad behavior on both sides. You can critique. We're going to get to that. Let me not spoil it. This is one of my favorite sections, mocking the men are protectors role. This is a really dumb take. I got to call it what it is. It's a dumb take. Let's listen.
Like, oh, men are meant to protect from what? Because we're not cavemen anymore, so you're not fighting saber-toothed tigers. Protect from what? And then it's like,
and y'all aren't useful when it's other men accosting us.
That's why I said protect from what? Other men?
Yeah.
Turns out you're the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
But then even when you do see like something happening, you don't do anything.
Yeah. I've seen several videos of women getting like abused or assaulted like in public, and men are just standing around like you usually do.
Recording it.
Yeah, not doing shit.
And doing nothing else.
But why would I step into an altercation that has nothing to do with me?
Okay.
Because I don't know. Maybe
you understand, they start off like protection from what? Of course, you have to demean the male role as protector. You have to demean that, right? Make them feel small again. Like we don't need you. I will ask you when you call the police or when you're in trouble and you call somebody, who do you want to show up? Do you want a 5'2" female who is built like me? I know I have little guns, but little ones. You want me to show up, or do you want a 6'5" guy who it looks scary as all hell to show up? I mean, let's just be honest. Of course, you want the guy to show up. They're bigger, they're stronger. End of story. This idea, though, how sheltered are you, Drew? How sheltered are you? Protect from what? Have you walked through a city lately? You got cities literally on fire with crime. Rape, murder, theft, robberies, assault, all kinds of things are going on in cities, blue cities, mind you, around the country. So this idea that women don't need protection from, protect from what? That, honey, that reality. And yes, sometimes that's going to be other men. Those other men are going to be criminals. There's criminals out there still. Are we not? I mean, are we now in some type of utopia where we don't acknowledge that people need protection? Or women need protection? Of course. That's why women fight for Second Amendment rights, doll. Because a gun is an equalizer for a woman because we are by nature less strong than guys. And guys seeking to do harm to women usually get away with it unless there is an equalizer in the mix. I know the Terminator looks cool and Sarah Connor looks amazing in that movie, but it's not real. It's not real. So when we get beyond that, then she talks about how guys don't often step in. First of all, those videos you see, number one, of guys oftentimes not stepping in, where are those videos? They're not coming out of Lubbock, Texas, honey. They're coming out of New York City on the subway. They're coming out of Los Angeles. They're coming out of Chicago, where all the feminized men are sitting like this, okay? I have never in my life, go to Texas and let a woman get talked back. Let somebody talk back to her, and you're going to see guys, honey, you okay? You all right? Walking around with their guns in their holster. Sexy, yes, I said it. Being guys. Thirdly, one of the reasons that even the remaining masculine men in these cities don't do anything is because of the liberal justice systems in these cities, because they have said to themselves, if I get involved, that criminal is going to roam free because of some liberal DA, and it's going to somehow wind up being pointed at me and my fault. I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to be the bad guy in this situation, because it happens all the time in these liberal cities where the criminals roam free, and the person that was actually in there trying to protect someone, or the person trying to defend themselves, winds up in jail somehow. So a lot of these guys are like, I'm out. In these liberal cities, they're like, I'm out on this one. So it's a combination of things going on there. But the idea that men aren't protectors, the idea that men don't want to protect themselves, their wives, their families, what kind of guys are you dealing with, sadly? Guys love being in that role. They welcome it. They sign up for it. So I don't know who you're hanging out with. Maybe you need to hang out with different guys. But guys absolutely welcome what is a very, very challenging sometimes role and will lay their lives on the line for women. By the way, when we all go to war one day, you know that's coming because, you know, everybody's, World War III sounds like a great idea now to all the liberals. All the non-interventionist liberals suddenly want World War III. When that happens, who do you want on the front lines? You want a bunch of 5'2" women? Let's just put duplicates of me. Well, I'll be lucky if I can carry the backpack for more than, 30 feet. Let's be real. So you want your tough guys when you really need them. When push comes to shove, your feminism takes a back seat to reality. Then it's okay for the military, for the police officer. You're like, get whoever's in here that can protect us. It's an emergency. But till it's an emergency, you get to spout negative things about those guys. You get to label them toxic masculinity. And you get to do all that stuff. Because why? You're in a position of privilege at the moment. Well, wait till shit hits the fan. Let's see what comes out of your mouth then.
$5 super chat from Gracefully Insane says, these girls are just bitter, like kids who didn't get invited to the party and suddenly talking about that party sucks, glad I'm not there.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And I asked, though, if you're really happy, why do you talk like that? I mean, I don't know much about her life. She has a boyfriend, I was, told. So if you're happy, why this tone? I'm curious. I'm just curious. I mean, I understand. I critique as well. Let's get into the critique part. This is fascinating to me, this component. We have 2 more clips that I want to play for you today and get to. So let's do to 10626 about criticizing women. That they seem to have a problem with criticizing women. So let's listen.
Don't drag other women for the enjoyment of other men, like for the validation of other men. That's called being a pick-me.
Yeah.
That word has been abused and overused by women who are actual pick-me's.
Yeah.
Like it's truly just you putting down women or like basically selling out for the attention of other men.
Exactly.
Like,
and what are they gonna do for you?
They don't already. Well, I just say like all the time, life is way too short to waste it trying to prove to a man that you deserve to be respected.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is crazy because like you so
in other words, you can't criticize women. You can't. Men can't criticize women because it's misogyny, and now women can't criticize women because according to them, that means that women are doing it for the attention of men and the approval of men. So basically, you just can't criticize women. So you can't hold women accountable in society for bad behavior? That's not going to work for me. So I hold Republicans, Democrats, men, women, I hold everybody accountable for what I deem as bad behavior, and I critique that. There should be no problem with that. Are we now in a society that you cannot critique women? You cannot critique women without them saying so. But if I sit here and I talk about how promiscuity is bad for women, if I talk about how it's nasty that you could have a body count of 30 at the age of 20 years old, I'm labeled as a misogynist, which is, I'm a woman, honey. Not a misogynist, not a woman hater. I'm trying to wake women up. Or I'm labeled as, oh, I'm doing it for male attention. Isn't that a really easy way to just remove all criticism of women? I'm going to repeat this for you again because it needs to hit home. According to modern feminists, men can't criticize women, or it's misogyny. Women can't criticize women, or you're just dragging women for male attention. So no one can criticize women, and you can no longer hold women accountable for bad behavior. That is modern feminism in a nutshell. Does that sound just to you, guys? Okay. I love it. This is the final one. This is her. Oh, these are 2 clips actually, but they're back to back in the same show. This is Drew with Michaela Oakland. Michaela Oakland is also a famous influencer, has a pretty high Twitter account, started a separate Twitter account, which I can't remember the name of, which was essentially putting up these screenshots of what they considered men behaving badly in text exchanges with women and whatnot. So let's listen to the first one. This is, again, this is man hating. It is what it is. Let's listen.
I mean, that's kind of like a...
Well, like mommy issues, maybe I feel like men will have one thing happen to them that's like not really kind, or like not, they get cheated on once, or like whatever. It becomes their whole personality. They're like, I have been wronged in this universe.
For
like
the
terrible
rest,
things
like,
have happened to me.
I cannot wait to make my personality about this for the next 20 years.
And then they punish every woman after that.
This is
and
all
think
you're
they're
ever
punishing
gonna know
their
about
mother.
me. Me being short and me getting laughed at in 6th grade. That's all you're ever gonna know about me.
So again, women don't do that. Women don't have a bad relationship. I know plenty of women had a bad relationship and got cheated on, and then you're damaged a little bit. So then the next guy, no matter what, automatically you view as the cheater. He has to overcome all this stuff because you've been through hell with another guy. This is just human nature. What they're talking about is human nature. Men and women go through divorces, they go through bad relationships, and they get affected. And sometimes what happens to them in the past relationship affects them for a hot minute in terms of the way they treat the future relationship. And maybe they're a little jaded, maybe they're a little uncomfortable, maybe they're a little distrusting. Why is it only about men though? This is funny to them in some way. Why is it funny at all? First of all, anybody who's been through trauma in relationships, it sucks. It absolutely sucks, and I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny when it happens to men. I don't think it's funny when it happens to women. I don't think it's funny when people get cheated on. I don't think it's funny when people get bullied. It's not funny, right? It sucks. So let's just be honest. But why is it to them funny when it happens to guys? Oh yeah, like you got, treated like shit in high school, and then you got cheated on, and now it's like your whole personality. Would they say that about a female? I don't think so. So what's going on here? This is why it sounds like man-hating, or it sounds like what's going on here? Why is it so agenda-driven in one way? Why not just say people who go through shit in life, people sometimes take it out on the next partner and shouldn't do that. It's hard. We've all been there. The angle is uncomfortable for me. Maybe it is for you too. I don't know. And by the way, these are liberals, right? She identified, she's liberal. You'll see in the next clip about Joe Rogan, the final one. What I love about liberals is the selective compassion. Don't you? It's like they have compassion and they have empathy only for their causes, their crew, and all of the issues that align with their ideology. Somebody else on the other side, no. They've only got jokes, name calling, horrible things to say. You're damaged, you're scarred, your hair is ugly. Compassion just goes right out the window. You're misinformation, so you don't deserve decency on a television show. We'll just cut your sound. You know how it goes. Selective compassion. Gag-inducing, just saying. Tyler?
Dark Warrior gave $20. Said, "Are you speaking about younger men? Because most men I know over 45 to 50 are quite secure emotionally and financially."
Financially, yeah. I mean, younger men aren't as financially stable. What does you think he means in response
So
to men being affected?
She's asking if I think if these girls are talking about younger men, because I think she's making the claim that older men don't do this. They don't say, "Oh, my ex-wife broke my heart" or whatever.
Oh yeah, I got you. Okay, so yeah, I think that's probably a fair point. But regardless, listen, I don't know. It really depends on what you've been through. I mean, if you're married, think about an older guy. You could be emotionally secure, but if you're with somebody for 15 years and they betray you, and you've got kids, that's not an easy situation to go through. I don't care if you're 40 or you're 50 or you're 30. If you lose your family, if you have someone betray you, break a contract of a marriage, an agreement, or something goes down, who knows what it is. Stuff can get weird. Somebody sleeps with your friend. I mean, there's stuff that happens that could really, I'm not saying it breaks you forever, but it may break you for a moment. So do I believe that an emotionally secure guy can still be affected? Of course, at any age, I would say. It really depends. Maybe not from a basic breakup. You're with somebody for a few months and it goes down south, but a marriage, a divorce, a complicated situation can absolutely happen to anyone, man or woman, I think. So her commentary may be directed more toward younger men because she's younger. I think she's late 20s, if I'm not mistaken. 26. Oh, okay. So she's pretty young. So that's her lens, right? But so odds are, yeah, she's talking about younger guys. The final this is the best. The Joe Rogan comment. Now, when you think of Joe Rogan, though, this is what I love. The left looks at Joe Rogan, and the left thinks Joe Rogan is a hard right guy. I mean, are they brain dead? Or they just do no research? What is it? This Joe Rogan was a Bernie Sanders guy, a socialized medicine guy. Joe Rogan is just a guy who has a podcast where he invites people who agree and disagree and has a discussion. And that's why the point here is so important. Listen to the clip, and then we're going to talk about why a discussion is so dangerous to the modern left. Let's listen.
They're like,
I literally dated someone who didn't tell me he listened to Joe Rogan until 3 years in. He was like, this won't go well. But then 3 years in.
That's like the worst catfish to me.
Yeah. And we did break up.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so this next comment.
So why? First of all, why didn't he tell you? Why? Was he afraid of you? That's bad too, guys. Don't be afraid of women. I can't with this. I can't with guys hiding like who they are because they're afraid the woman's not going to like them, or they hide stuff because they're like, well, she'll leave me. You gotta be who you are, and you gotta be honest about who you are, what you enjoy listening to, what kind of music you like, what kind of movies you like. And if she doesn't like you for that, she's not for you. She's not for you. By the way, same goes for the women. This advice goes both ways. But what is wrong with Joe Rogan that bothers her? She has in her mind Joe Rogan is this right-wing guy. No, Joe Rogan is just a guy that has a conversation. So you need to ask yourself, all the people that had a problem, particularly with Joe Rogan, when it came to the COVID-19 vaccine, and he was just having people on to talk about the vaccine. The pluses, the minuses, the mandates. He had doctors on who agreed, who disagreed. He had a discussion. The modern left is not interested in a discussion. They're not. They are very used to owning all of corporate media. They own network television. They own a large part of cable news as well. Pharma, frankly, owns it all. So you'd be surprised. You think there's a little diversity in there, but it's all under the same umbrella, honey. All of it. And they're used to that cohesion, right? So when there's somebody out there that's just independent is terrifying to these people. Independent, doing well, getting views, making money, and that business model is just a real honest discussion with different viewpoints. The modern left panics. Why? Because their viewpoint doesn't uphold well against common sense. So they have to squash the other side so that they can shine as the only opinion. Because when you have debate, usually they lose. Common sense it is what it is. Common sense comes into play and they get very vulnerable. And I would ask, if they're not afraid of debate, they should love a Joe Rogan, She should be dying to get on there. Oh, I wish he would book me. I could go and have a debate and discussion with him. I think it would be a great conversation. We could talk about feminism. We could talk about whatever. You would be, if you really wanted, if you were confident in what you were saying and you were passionate about what you were saying, you would crave that space where you could have a debate. I do all the time. I love it. I can't wait. My bookers know. I'm like, get somebody on here who doesn't see the world the way I do. Book them. Get them to come. Oftentimes we get told no. Can't imagine why. The fear strikes. But bottom line is the modern feminism, the modern feminist left, they just don't want discussion. So, and we've invited, by the way, we sent out an invite to Drew to come on the show. I would love to have her sit here and talk about these things. Challenge me. Challenge me. I want to be challenged because I'm very comfortable with where I'm sitting politically, socially. I'm very comfortable. And I would love to be challenged. So please, open invitation. Feminists, if you're in the chat, you want to come on the show? Pitch yourself. Send me a message. I'm serious. Why? I don't need to talk to, just, Tyler doesn't disagree with me enough. Just saying. Tyler, do we have any more super chats before we close out for today?
No. I do have a question.
Yeah.
For you. So, a couple things. Supposedly, this Dr. Michaela Oakland person is a Harvard graduate, which tells you everything you need to know about Harvard, right? But I wonder, does the left hate Joe Rogan because he's Joe Rogan, or does the left hate Joe Rogan because of the people who listen to him? Remember, that was Trump's thing, right? Is they don't hate me, they hate me because they hate you. If Trump was a Democrat, they'd love him, right? And everybody loved Trump until he walked down the escalator and said I'm running as a Republican, right? So I wonder, because you're right, Joe Rogan is a pro-abortion, pro-choice. He is food stamps. He's big government. He's Bernie Sanders. He likes to shoot and he likes to hunt, and that's it. So I really wonder how much of it is because they hate Joe Rogan or they hate his audience. Because his audience, I would imagine, is broadly right-wing, if you will.
Yeah, and that's interesting too. Why if he is a socialized medicine guy and a Bernie guy and he's pro-abortion and all that, why is his audience right-leaning? Well, why? Because he's actually having a forum for discussion, and those people who generally align with him politically, they don't want a discussion. They want just a parrot. They're very uncomfortable with the fact that he's offering a forum. I think people don't like... Trump was a little bit different. I think people thought Trump was going to come into power and he was going to be less of a right-wing leader in terms of policy. When he started putting things out policy-wise, I think he scared the crap out of them, and they were like, oh, I need to hate this guy. I think with Joe Rogan, I think the most intimidating thing about him is that he's just having a conversation. And he's giving people who see the world differently a place that's very high profile to share their thoughts. And I think it's persuading people.
Yeah.
It's persuading people. I think people even who are more centrist who listen to the show are finding themselves asking different types of questions. I think that the goal really is to decrease the number of free-thinking people in society at all costs and increase the number of people who are only comfortable in their bubble and their safe space. And anyone who threatens that or offers a different route and a conversation is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So that's my take. I don't agree with Joe Rogan on any of those things. Socialized medicine, on abortion, on Bernie Sanders. But I think he's doing a really important service by having a conversation. And I'd be happy to debate him on any of those things. Why? Because I'm not a scaredy cat. And most of the people who want to shut Joe Rogan and the likes of Joe Rogan down are a bunch of scaredy cats. Again, I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that like button. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back on Wednesday. I'll actually be on PBD Podcast tomorrow talking about, I don't know what, hopefully not interest rates. I don't know anything about that. But I'll be there nonetheless. And I will be back on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with a live show talking about who knows what. Who knows what. Thank you for being with us today, and have a nice Monday. Have a nice Halloween. Go dress up. I don't know. Dress up as Drew F. Wallow, whatever that is. I don't know. Okay. Bye.